Hello everyone, I am Vijay Katta and I am welcome you on my next video lecture series on distributed systems. So in Indian universities, this subject is taught with some other name also like distributed computing, advanced distributed operating systems. Their syllabus is moreover same. There is a one specialization subject which is based upon distributed system is called as a distributed database management system. IBM has launched one distributed database called as a R-star database. So its theoretical implementation, its theoretical discussion has been taught in this subject called as a distributed database management system. So I have assigned one subject tagline which explain about the working of the distributed system, and the tagline is none of us are as smart as all of us. It means we will use the computation power or some other resources of a number of machine to resolve a particular task, and for the end user this distributed systems is visualized as a single machine, while on the background, the task may be completed on n number of machines. So in this video, we will discuss about the distributed system or distributed computation. Then we will study some study book materials. Next, we will overview on the subject. We will compare single system computation with a distributed system architecture. And then finally, we will discuss about the three types of distributed systems. Basically, this concept distributed system is based upon the operating systems. So in the next video, we will study the types of operating system. So let's start with the introduction of distributed systems. So there are two words. One is called as a distributed and another one is called as the systems. So let's start. We will define the distributed and then we will define the what do you mean by system. So when we talk about distributed, it means give a share or a unit of something to each of a number of recipients. It means we are going to share here something. Something may be a memory, something may be a processor, or something may be a task or XYZ. And when we talk about the system, so system is nothing but a set of things. So it is a group of things that work together as a part of mechanism, or they are interconnected, and that complete system is a complex system. So an organized scheme or method in which a set of principles or procedure applied according to which something is done, that is called as the system. So let's combine these two words called as a distributed and system, and we come with the definition called as a distributed system definition. And the definition is a distributed system is a collection of autonomous computers linked by computer network that appears to the user of the system as a single computer. So if I highlight on this definition, so there are few keywords are here like a collection of autonomous computer network, and for the end user it appears as a single machine. So we will focus on 2 points. First one is called as a system architecture and user perception. So we will study here the definition in detail. So when we talk about a system architecture, so I talk one word called as autonomous. So machines are autonomous. That means they are computer systems which in principle could work independently. So the machines, computer machines which work independently are considered as autonomous machines. And from user's perception, that is a whole system can be appear as a single one. A distributed system is perceived as a single system solving a certain problems, but in the background n number of machines may be involved to complete that user's task. So on a single machine, user will input the data. On n number of machines, that computation will be performed, and on the same machine, user will receive the data. So user think that task has been completed on the same machine. Now the question is, why we have to study the distributed systems? So I think you are aware with the following key terms called as a World Wide Web, stands for WWW, or IoT, that is nothing but Internet of Things, then healthcare system, and the mostly used technology called as a telecommunication systems. In fact, all these four technologies, that is WWW, IoT, health monitoring systems, and the our cellular system or a PSTN network. PSTN stands for Public Switch Telephone Network, that we call as a landline network. So both cellular network and the landline networks are basically implemented with the help of concept called as the distributed system. In fact, the World Wide Web is the largest application of distributed system. तो इसका मतलब ये हुआ कि हमें अगर वर्ल्ड वाइड वेब स्टडी करना है या इंटरनेट ऑफ थिंग्स के कॉन्सेप्ट को स्टडी करना है, ऑल दीज आर दी डिस्ट्रीब्यूटेड सिस्टम कॉन्सेप्ट. आज के तारीख में हम लोग जो हेल्थ बैंड पहन के चलते हैं और अदर हेल्थ मॉनिटरिंग इक्विपमेंट दैट वी वियर, all these are the nothing but a distributed system concepts. So from the book section, there are few books has been defined in all universities. First one is called as the Single and Shivratri Advanced Concept in Operating System, Distributed Database and Multiprocessor Operating System. This is by McGraw-Hill publication. And this book covers around 80 to 90% of the syllabus. Second book is called as the Polaris book, Distributed System, the Concept and the Design. This book covers Unit 1, Unit 3 and Unit 5. So this book covers around 60 to 70% of the syllabus. Third book is by Andrew S. Tenenbaum, the Distributed System. This is from the Prentice Hall publication. And for the database concept, that is the distributed database concept, we have a book of database management system from Ramakrishna and Gerge. Our syllabus is basically depend upon this advanced concept in operating system, in the distributed system. So we will mainly follow Singal and Shivratri's book. This book is basically a compilation of research paper. So in the syllabus, we have to study around hundreds algorithm. The algorithms related with the deadlock detection, the algorithms related with the distributed process management, the the algorithms related with the file systems, and so that. So we will follow first book to cover the syllabus. Now, for the basic point of view, because I already told you this distributed system concept is basically depend upon operating system and computer network. So we will follow the Galvin and Andrew S. Tenenbaum for understanding of the basic concepts. Now, a detailed overview of the distributed systems. So a distributed system is one in which components located at a network computers, they communicate and coordinate their actions by message passing mechanism. So it means we need a computer network, we need a mechanism so through which they can coordinate, and for communication purpose we need one architecture, and that architecture is called as a message passing architecture. One example is a RPC, remote procedure call. Another example for message passing or implementation is a RMI technique in the Java, that stands for remote method invocation. So from the above discussion, there are three key terms called as a component sharing, that is nothing but called as a resource sharing. Next one is called as the coordinate. So concurrency control is an important aspect to perform a coordination between the multiple computers. And the last one is called as a message passing model, that is called as the communication model. So depending upon this discussion, we come with the one diagram that is called as the distributed system architecture diagram. So here I have a n number of computers. I have connected these computers via computer network. Now each machine has their a copy of operating system. It may be a distributed operating system. It may be a network operating system. Now on this one, we installed a most important parameter of distributed system, that is called as the middleware services. So middleware services are the software components that are required to create an environment of a distributed system, and then on this environment we run distributed application. So this middleware has been installed or updated according to the types of your application, types of the applications that user want to execute on its machine. So when we talk about computer networks, so we can connect these computers either in LAN, that is called as a local area network, MAN, metropolitan area network, WAN, wide area network, or via internet. When we talk about operating systems, so we can use a Windows network operating system, Linux operating system, Unix operating system, or there are some specialized distributed operating systems are available. And the student developed operating system example is Amoeba, and another example is a Paramecium. So these are the specialized distributed operating system. So we can use any type of operating system. So I hope from this diagram you understand one concept. Distributed system maintain the concept of heterogeneity, because we are using different types of network, different types of operating system, and we have a different types of application. Along with this different application, we use we installed related middleware services on the machines. So I have consulted the complete architecture. So this is the architecture of distributed systems. So we have the machines connected with network. Then we install a middleware layer here, and the respective applications are installed. Now, from the dimensions point of view, from the horizons point of view that distributed system are connected, there are three important points. First one is called as the processors. Second important point is called as the data. And third important point is called as the control. How you distribute the control, how you distribute or how you use the different types of processor. And from the data point of view, where you store the data. Because we are studying distributed, so we hope all things must be shared with the all machines. So when we talk about the x-axis parameter, that is called as the processor, processor may be a homogeneous or heterogeneous. When we talk about homogeneous processor, there are two types of processor. One is called as a homogeneous special purpose, and second one is called as a homogeneous general purpose. So in our machine, we use homogeneous general purpose processor. Another category is called as a heterogeneous. So again, heterogeneous special purpose processor and heterogeneous general purpose processors. Next one is from the control point of view. Either we can use master slave architecture. Sometimes you call it as a client server architecture. Another one is called as a autonomous transaction based and autonomous fully cooperative architecture. And from data point of view, data may be fully replicated on all machine. It is not necessary to replicate, that is called as not fully replicated master directory. And third word, local data at local directory. So we can distribute data, processor, control, and that is called as the distributed system dimensions. Now, what are the basic goals of distributed system? Now, this is my first lecture. So I'm going to only highlight on the some points. In the next upcoming lecture, we will discuss about the details goals of distributed system. So my first goal is making resources accessible. Second one is called as a distributed transparency. Third one is called as the openness. Fourth one is called as the scalability standard. Fifth and most important things are is called as the security parameters. Here we are going to share our resources. If somebody malicious user has access that resources, then definitely our distributed system will be vulnerable. Now you just imagine World Wide Web is a distributed system. If we will not implement a security parameters, how vulnerable our World Wide Web will be. And second one is a system design requirement. So basically, the syllabus of distributed system is nothing but the algorithms that are required to fulfill these goals. Now we will compare a single machine or central system with a distributed system from the computation point of view. So let's start with the our discussion. Point number one, in centralized machine, one component with non-autonomous part, while in distributed system, multiple autonomous components are there. Point number two, components shared by users all the time. While in distributed system, on demand, that components are shared with the different machine. For a single machine, all resources are accessible all the time. But while in distributed system, the resources are accessible only on demand. It means in single machines, if I am not using some resources called as a printer, then that will be the wastage. But while in distributed system, on the demand, that same printer can be used by multiple users. Software run in a single process, while in distributed system, software run in a concurrent processes. Now the word is a concurrent process is important one. That is a coordination is important parameter on the different processor. Now single point of control, while in distributed system, it is a multiple point of control, and single point of failure in single machine, while a multiple point of failures are there. What are we trying to achieve when we construct a distributed system? So we want to achieve heterogeneity. We need openness standards. We need a security mechanism. As per our requirement, we can grow or shrink our network, that is called as the scalability, failure handling, a concurrency control, and most important thing, transparency. Basically, there are 8 type of transparencies has been discussed in distributed systems. Now, these are the following examples of distributed computing. That is, I already discussed telecommunication network. So telecommunication network and cellular network, computer network, wireless sensor network, routing algorithms that we use for transmission of data from source machine to destination machine. These are the some telecommunication based distributed computing examples. Now from network application point of view, World Wide Web, your online gaming is a best example of distributed system. Distributed database management system, I already discussed. IBM has introduced R-Star database management system. From real-time processing point of view, aircraft control system, I think you heard about autopilot mode in aeroplane system. That is a distributed system. Industrial control system, health monitoring system, these are the real time. And from parallel computing purpose, cluster computing and grid computing, these are the 2 examples. I have taken these examples from Wikipedia. The references is mentioned on this slide. Now this is one example of our ATM machine, the ATM transaction, automated teller machine. This is the best example of distributed system. I have a credit, for example, I have a credit card of XYZ bank. To take out the machine, I am using a ATM of ABC machine. So first of all, ABC machine will communicate with a third party called as a Visa or Mastro for your authentication. If authentication is performed, then your request is transferred to your respective bank. If you have a money, then bank will inform to the respective ABC one. Then from ABC machine, you will withdraw the amount. So this is the best example of distributed system. And this complete and a complex task is complete within a second. So you can understand how fast distributed system is executing. So these are the few issues that are involved in ATM transaction, that is the distributed transactions. That is the security, reliability, replication of data, fault tolerance, and so on. Now, types of distributed system. So there are three types of distributed system has been defined. First one is called as a distributed computing system. Second one is called as a distributed information based system. And third one is called as a distributed pervasive system. So when we talk about distributed computing system, cluster computing and grid computing are the examples. So in my next lecture, we will study what do you mean by grid computing and what do you mean by cluster computing. Next one is called as a transaction processing system and enterprise application system. And third one is a IoT, home automation system, health electronic care system, and wireless sensor network. So these are the category of pervasive systems. So students, in today's lecture, we basically focus on the basic introduction of the distributed systems. In next video lecture, we will study about cluster computing, grid computing, and these different types of distributed systems. Thank you.